10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Happy New Year! Did you get it? That was the ball dropping Manhattan. Okay. Anyways, welcome to the 2025 stream of the Rich Alvarez 2024 year in review / hope and looking forward to the future of 2025, which is now, by the way, we are currently living in the year of our Lord 2025, the distant future. Which is crazy that it's now the distant future, the year 2025.
Anyways, made for the year 2000 also.
Yeah, it is the distant future, the year 2000. Anyways, this is real, and as someone who was born in the 1980s, boy, do I feel like yesterday's gum scraped off of somebody's. No, it's
we're old.
Anyways, we got some good topics for you today. We're going to cover a lot of stuff very quickly. I know like a lot of people are doing their year-end list, like what were your top movies and what were your worst movies and blippity blop. We're going to try to like do micro versions of that very quickly in this show. So no, we're not going to do like our top 10 worst movies or our top. We're going to do like, we're going to say like the 2 or 3 we liked and then maybe 1 we didn't like, and etc. And etc. So, and I'm going to forget because I have a bad memory, most of them. So in the chat, if you are, and thank you so much to everybody I see here. We've
got a lot of people.
Give a shout out to,
we got Garzilla, we got Trip, we got Hank Does Edits, Skitters, Son of a Sith, Dante, Tim Rogers, Elite Gear. Thank you, everybody, by the way, for tuning in, and thanks for joining us.
That's right. So while we're talking about our favorite TV shows and movies, if you think of a movie or a TV show that we are forgetting or we didn't mention, go ahead and feel free. Haha, Sam is here. Go ahead and feel free to shout out your favorite or least favorite movie or TV show in the comments, and that may actually help us remember our favorites or least favorites. Chris forgot his handy little microphone thing for robot super chats today, but he just realized that he forgot.
Well, it's not that I forgot. It's that let's just go with it. It's not that I forgot. It's that the effort it would take to get it to work would take too long, and I didn't feel like figuring it out.
So
I'll be your robot.
I was going to say, in lieu of that, if you do give us a generous super chat today, I will come up with a on-the-spot joke inspired by your username. Tasteful, of course, but just keep in mind that I'll be coming up with a joke on the spot, so it may not be up to comedy club standards, but what is these days anyways. Moving on. All right, Chris.
Oh, hey, we just got our first member super chat of the stream. This is Xanderbray, who's been a member for 53 months and said, top film, Sonic 3. Second top film, obviously, Luigi A. Brothers Shadow. Oh, that's Shadow the Hedgehog. Go watch it. LOL. Third, Deadpool. And oh, yeah, that's right. I totally forgot that came out. That wasn't even on our list.
You said Marvel.
You said Marvel.
I said Marvel.
Yeah,
that was supposed to generalize everything.
Third, Deadpool. Fourth film, Dial of Destiny. Wait a minute, was that?
No, that was last year. Dial of Destiny was last year.
And shows from Cobra Kai. Thank you very much, Xanderbrow, for being a member for so long.
Thank you, Xanderbrow. Xanderbrow, more like Xander Wow. See, that's the kind of quality of joke that you'll receive when you super chat today.
Anyway, well, with that said, just to kick things off here, we wanted to say thank you again to everybody who is joining us. For those of you just trickling in, we're going to recap some of our favorite things about 2024, what we're looking forward to in 2025. As you know, Rich and I will stream consistently, and then we'll kind of disappear for a bit, but been a little while since we've done a stream, so we really appreciate all of you jumping in, and we hope that kicking off 2025, you can enjoy it with us, your YouTube friends. So with that said,
we also hope that you had a very Merry Christmas or whatever holiday that your region and or culture celebrates. That's why I was saying, because there's happy holidays, but I like to drag it out and make it weirder.
I hear you.
Anyways,
so with that said, what do we want to start with? We got a lot to cover. I'll give you guys the general stuff. So we want to talk about TV shows.
I would like to first talk about disappointing TV shows and movies of 2024.
The disappointment.
Disappointments.
All right.
And there are legion, but again, only so much that I can actually remember. I tend to forget bad things. The things that come to mind, especially since it's, again, there's recency bias, right?
Yeah.
So Bad Santa. Now that is the movie where Jack Black is Satan, but pretends to be Santa. I couldn't make it more than 15 minutes into that movie. It was so bad. And you know what? I didn't even get to the first scene with Jack Black in it. Just the premise where the boy's talking to his parents. That scene at the beginning, if you've seen it, where the boy's talking to his parents, lasted like 5 to 10 minutes too long.
Dang.
I was like, can we cut to a different scene? Like, it was just so bad. I was like, is this who's filming this movie? Sam knows what I'm talking about if she's still in the chat. It's just like, I was like sitting there like, can we not finish this movie, please? I will rip off my face before I finish this movie.
I completely. When did that come out recently? Or
that was just that was at the beginning of December.
Dang, I must have not even paid attention to that one. I didn't even catch it.
So the funny thing is, I can't even, so, and then moving on, there was Red One. Now that's the Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson,
yeah,
and Chris Evans Christmas movie that everybody was lambasting. Everybody said it was terrible. Now, maybe it's because my expectations of that movie were so in the gutter low, and I happened to have nothing to watch on the evening that I decided to watch it. We watched it, and you know what? It was still a bad movie, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. There were some fun moments. It had some excitement. The plot is a little rickety-tickety, but there were some fun moments. Was it good? No, it was not a good movie, but it was, I would say that it was a fun holiday movie though. I remember, it's like, is it a fun holiday movie in the same way of Jingle All the Way? Well, I would prefer Jingle All the Way, but that's nostalgia bias because that movie came out in the 90s and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so of course it's a great movie.
There you go.
To me, it's not for everyone. I would presume. Okay. Any other bad movies, Chris? Did you see anything that you were like, this is terrible?
No,
or you tend to wait and then see what everybody else says.
I was gonna say if I wasn't like excited to see it, I just didn't see it. So yeah, I can't. I didn't know we were doing worst. Rich totally. We wrote out all of our favorite stuff.
We got to ramp up. We got to ramp up
me off guard here.
First. Oh, Trip.
We got a nice member for 33 months from Trip. Thank you, Trip. And Trip said, call me Trippin' before Rich can. Every holiday season, I send friends the clip of Doug going, Merry Christmas. Oh, Happy Hanukkah. Oh, Kwanzaa. Yay, 25.
Happy Hanukkah.
I remember that. That was good times. That's from the RichAlvarez 2010 Christmas party.
Good job, Trip.
Appreciate that.
I guess you made your joke before I could. So,
and then also didn't want to miss Sam's. I think this was the movie you were just talking about.
Red One. Yeah, tolerable to wrap presents to. That's what it was. Yeah, we were wrapping Christmas presents while watching Red One.
I just had to put that there, and I think
the Minecraft movie trailer came out this year. 2 different versions of it, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
We'll get into that.
But anyways, so any other worst movie? I feel like I kind of did the Chris this year, where I kind of waited. I didn't see anything the weekend. I don't think I saw anything the weekend it came out, except for Deadpool and Wolverine. We'll get to that later. So I was always a couple of weeks behind. And so, yeah, if a movie got bad reviews, I just didn't want to waste my time on it. I will say this. There was a lot of movies that I was looking forward to seeing that I didn't end up seeing because they were slammed by critics. Joker 2. I liked the first Joker. Joker 2, apparently terrible, so I didn't see it.
Yep.
And if I'm to believe everything that there are very, very few critics that I actually trust. One of them is probably Christian Harloff, and the other one is John Campea. They both slammed Joker 2.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
I didn't see it, and I believe them. Seems like nobody liked it, so there's stuff like that where I just didn't see it. Okay. TV shows, Chris, was there any disappointing TV shows?
The thing is, if I wasn't excited to watch it, I just didn't watch it. You'd probably know more than me. Oh, hey, we just got Yo-Yo Man, who is also a member, who said, I wanted to go see Joker 2 with my girlfriend since we both loved the first one, but decided not to when we heard how bad it was. Yeah, I think that was how a lot of us were. Thanks again, Yo-Yo Man, for
By
being
the
a
way,
member.
chat, the reason why I keep like doing this and this is because the chat's like right there behind the microphone. So I'm like,
you want me to
trying
move
to
this
see.
down? Would that be better for
Here,
you?
that's good. Would that be good for you? Yeah,
Here,
that's
let me.
good.
Hopefully, it still sounds good. Is that all good? All good here?
That's good if it stays in
Oh,
place.
it's being
We
a
need
little.
to tighten it up over here or something.
No, there we go. How about that? All good? All good?
All right, whatever.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, getting now. Okay, so I can't. Again, TV shows, I'm even more biased. So it's like I really won't watch a whole TV show if people have said it's bad. So we're gonna skip bad TV shows right now. Let's move on to good things. Movies this year that you enjoyed, Chris. Do you have a top 2, 3?
I mean, if I had to pick one movie that I really liked, and I do have to preface this by apologizing and saying I have not seen the new Sonic movie with Shadow. In fact, Rich and I were supposed to see it, and then we both got really tired that day and busy, so we missed it. So I'll put it out there with a mea culpa.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, we both didn't see it yet. We do still want to see it, so we'll put Sonic on pause.
That's the one movie I wanted to see that we haven't seen yet.
We will though. And we'll cover that the next time.
We'll give it an honorary third place.
Yeah.
Because it's probably third place.
What I was going to say is I really enjoyed Dune Part 2. It came out at the very beginning of the year. I'm pretty sure,
so
right?
everyone forgot about it.
That's the one.
Especially the Academy Awards really forgot about it.
And for me, I didn't see Dune Part 1 when it first came out. So I hung out with Rich and we watched Dune Part 1 the night before. And then the next day we saw Dune Part 2. So for me, it kind of felt like two movies like together. But that one was really, really, really good. It was very cinematic. It definitely, the only way I could describe it is every decade there's like a really, really, really big movie that feels like it kind of defines the decade. I felt that way with Lord of the Rings. Like when you have a movie that's just like epic in every way, like the costumes are great, the music's great, the characters are great, like the world just feels super immersive. That's how I felt about Dune. So I really like Dune Part 2, and that's the one that really like stood out to me. So what about you?
I mean, as Chris knows, I'm a lifelong Dune fan. I've read all of Frank Herbert's books. I was a fan of the sci-fi miniseries back in the early 2000s. I tolerated the 80s film. And I really like what Denis Villeneuve is doing with the new Dunes movies. There were more changes done in Part 2 than Part 1. But really, the success or demise of those changes will really depend on how Part 3 is. Yeah. Now, Part 3 will, of course, be based on the second Dune book because the first two parts were just the first book. The third part will cover Dune Messiah. Now, everybody who's any kind of a Dune fan knows that Dune Messiah is no one's favorite Dune book. And so they're wondering how he might change some of the stuff in there, but not too much because we don't want him to screw up the third book. I know it keeps it's confusing because the way they did the movies, but because Children of Dune is a great book. That's the third book.
Gotcha.
We don't want Children of Dune to be ruined. But you can tell that Frank Herbert kind of sleepwalked his way through writing Dune Messiah, right? But except for one thing. That's how everyone feels. Except for me, I actually love Dune Messiah.
Yeah.
It might even be my favorite book. Call me a crazy person. Now, here's what the problem is cinematically. There's no action in Dune Messiah. It's a political drama.
Got it.
But in order to, make it a movie, they have to add some.
They have to add the action.
So. Now, they've already done certain things. If you haven't seen the Dune movies, I don't want to spoil it, but there was 2 or 3 major things at the end of Dune Part 2 that were very different from the book that set up different kinds of drama in the next movie. And so I guess he's going to, weave and weasel his way through to make an exciting third movie. But also Denis said that he's probably done after a third movie, which means that if the series is to continue, then, hi, Kevin, then he'll have to find someone else to direct while he produces or something, which is interesting.
That'll be crazy.
Anyways, that's enough about Dune.
Yeah.
Moving on, other movies that I like this year. I guess I'll go to Gladiator next. I loved Gladiator 2.
I did not see it yet, but
Chris
Rich
didn't see it. But Gladiator, the original Russell Crowe movie, is maybe one of my top 5 movies of all time. I don't know. Movie. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. Joaquin Phoenix, so crazy.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we just got
Xanabrow.
a super chat, our first super chat. Thank you, Xanabrow. Xanabrow says, how was New Year's? Y'all hyped for Happy Gilmore 2?
Oh yeah, we add that to the next list. Yeah, thanks, Xanabrow. I am super hyped. I actually am really hyped for Happy Gilmore 2. We'll get to that a little bit later. New Year's was great, and just kind of just hung out with my family. But yeah. And what was I talking about? Oh, Gladiator 2.
Thank you, Xanabrow.
So all I want to say about, I'm not going to do a huge deep dive on it, but all I got to say is that if the people that were like, it's just like the first one, but not as good, wrong. I don't know. Obviously, yeah, it centers around gladiatorial fighting in Rome, but how else do you do a gladiator?
Well, I like
sequel?
what you said. You said if the critique was that it was too similar to the first one, but if it was too really different, then people would say it's too different.
If it's too different, people say it's too different. I mean, obviously, it is gladiator fighting, but I thought like all the characters were pretty unique. I love Denzel Washington in the movie. His machinations and manipulations, like he really makes that movie. That is Denzel's movie from start to finish. He is. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. Are we doing spot focus again?
Yeah, we fixed it. Autofocus got funky.
But anyways, if you liked Gladiator 1, see Gladiator 2. If you didn't like Gladiator 1, well, you probably won't like Gladiator 2 because, in the sense of like the checklist of what you enjoy, yeah, it does a lot of the same things, but it does it different. I mean, I can't believe like that's the argument. It's like that's every sequel. Every sequel does the same thing, but does it different and or better.
But you liked it, right?
I loved it.
Okay, well, that's all that matters. If you liked it and you liked the first one, then that means I should see it. By the way, guys, quick reminder, if you haven't given this video a thumbs up yet, this YouTube live stream is brought to us by you. So feed that YouTube algorithm with a thumbs up if you haven't already.
All right. Before I move on to my next choice, Chris, did you have another favorite movie from last year?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Chris only liked one movie.
We did movies and TV shows out of order, so I'll have a lot to say when we get to TV shows. Okay. I just want to move our notes around. But anyway,
first,
continue.
I don't want to talk about this for a huge amount of time, but I do want to say, if you enjoy Westerns and or Kevin Costner, you really got to check out Horizon Part 1. Everybody was kind of poo-pooing on it. I finally watched it. I loved it. And I can't believe that I didn't watch it right away. I'm upset with myself that I didn't see this in theaters because that's the reason why they pulled Part 2 out of theaters, or like why it didn't go to theaters. Part 2 is finished. It just doesn't have a release date because they're like, well, why would we spend money putting this into theaters? Because, it costs money to put it into theaters when the first one only made like, what, $10 million or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, people didn't like The Postman. People didn't like... and now I'm forgetting the name of everything ever, but people have like over the years, they've overly criticized Kevin Costner's movies for some reason. I love Postman, by the way.
Pause that real quick. We just got another super chat. Thank you so much, Xanabrow, who super chatted $5 and said, New Year's challenge, Midnight Strikes When Darkness Stabs. Nox Decius.
Thank you, Xanabrow.
Appreciate that, Xanabrow. Thank you very much. Glad you're still repping old SMD quotes. So it came out in theaters. You decided to wait until it came out on streaming,
right?
And now,
because I was thinking like probably what a lot of other people are thinking, like, oh, since the second one comes out in August, I will wait until the first one comes out on streaming so that I could watch it before going to the theater to watch Part 2, so I can watch them back to back. That proved to be a defeating strategy for the movie. And I realized, like that's a terrible strategy. I will never do that again. I will never wait till streaming to watch a movie if I intend to see a sequel, because if the first movie doesn't make any money, they're not going to make the second one if it's not made already, or they just won't release it or whatever. This is a crazy limbo situation. The second movie is finished. The third movie was like half finished, and then they had to like put it on hiatus until they figured this out. It's a crazy situation. I don't understand. There's so many things, whatever. I love Westerns. I know that's like, no, Westerns is actually one of my favorite genres.
It is one of my favorite.
I don't know why,
too.
but I love Westerns, especially, stuff with Costner. He's great in the movie, and he directed and wrote the movie too. He's not, people are like, well, he's not the main character. It's like, he doesn't need to be. The guy's 70 years old, like,
he's getting up there.
But it's a great movie, and you should check it out.
So it's still worth seeing.
Yeah.
And what would you, if you had to compare it to, is it even comparable to anything else? Does it feel like Yellowstone? Does it feel like Dances with Wolves?
I
does
just
it feel like
so
Good, Bad, and the Ugly? Does it feel like, what was the Clint Eastwood, Andy Western Unforgiven? Like, what does it feel like?
If you've seen the 2004 film Open Range, that's the one I couldn't remember earlier. That's Kevin Costner's movie with him and Robert Duvall, It feels a little bit like that. The pacing does feel like that. But that's another one. I loved Open Range.
Okay.
If you liked Open Range, you'll like Horizon. It has a lot of similar beats. But it's, people are like, I don't know, just ignore all the naysayers. See the movie for yourself. If you don't like it, then I'm sorry, but just watch it.
Got it.
Anyways, next up, the last movie I want to talk about, because I've forgotten everything else, is Wicked. I have an interesting history with Wicked. So Wicked, the movie, is based off of the first act of a 2003 Broadway musical based off of a 1995 published fan fiction of the 1900 published Wizard of Oz by Frank L. Baum.
Oh boy, we're getting deep.
It's here. Like do, right? And people forget that. So obviously the 2003 stage production is a huge success, but it is based on a 1995 novel, which is a fan fiction of the Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Because obviously Frank L. Baum's not alive anymore. That doesn't, and I don't say that to diminish it. I'm just saying that anything that isn't Frank L. Baum is technically fan fiction.
Got it. I never thought of it that way, but you're right.
In the same way that anything that isn't written by George Lucas is fan fiction of Star Wars. But that we'll save for some other video. Anyways.
Continue. That's just funny at the way that you phrased that.
So, Kevin shares the same birthday with Frank L. Baum. That's cool.
Very nice. How about that? So anyway, Wicked. It is, for those of you that...
I want to give a little bit of backstory before I get into this. I'm a huge fan of, all things Oz. When I was a kid, I read all the Oz books. I love Frank L. Baum's style. He has that weird, how do we even describe it?
Dark fantasy,
dreamscape, almost semi quasi nightmarish. It's the same thing. It's like when you're reading the Jabberwocky or Alice in Wonderland. It has that sort of out of body, kind of mentality.
Stuck
to
in
it.
A fantasy world.
Yeah. And the original book and books, they're very different than the 1939 musical with Judy Garland is great, and I love it. But it is such a happier version of that world than what the stories were. There's a scene in the third or fourth Oz book where the Tin Man, who in the books became the Tin Man because he accidentally chopped off one limb at a time and then had to encase himself in tin, is staring at his severed head through and he's talking with his severed head. That's a scene in one of the Oz books, is the Tin Man talking to his old human severed head. That's the kind of stuff you can expect from the Oz books, which is why I've always said it may not be the best Oz movie, but the Oz movie that is the closest adaptation to the original source material as far as tone is the 1985 film Return to Oz. Do you remember Return to Oz? It was weird, and it came out right in that time of in the 80s when dark fantasy was super
the Dark
hot.
Crystal and all that. Yep.
So Return to Oz, again, it may not be the best, although I might think it is. I don't know. But it is certainly the closest in spirit and in tone to the original Oz books. That's what you can expect. Crazy, weird stuff going on in there. Anyways, all that to say, when Wicked was first getting popular in the early 2000s, specifically the stage musical, I had a really hard time, and I had a really hard time with it because I don't like stories where they take a great villain and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, just kidding. You thought that they were the villain because you only saw it from one person's perspective.
They were just misunderstood.
Yeah, they were just misunderstood.
They were misunderstood the whole time.
Like Maleficent. I hate Maleficent. That movie sucks. Hate it. Why can't we just let villains be villains? I never actually saw the stage musical on stage because of that bias that I have, that I'm like, I don't like it when you change villains to anti-heroes or heroes. It ruins the emotional context of the original story. Now I've seen the movie Wicked. I've changed my mind.
Oh, wiggle, what?
So, and again, I still don't like that
So in general, you don't like that story.
I don't like
trope.
that trope. It's like, but Wicked, because now it has room to breathe. I understand that if you were to like watch the stage version of the show, it would take like 2.5 hours. This movie's 2 hours and 40 minutes and only covers Act 1. Whoa. So how did that happen? It's because they're taking so much more influence from the 95 book, stuff that wasn't included in the original show. And they took a lot of stuff from the original Frank L. Baum books and stuffed it back into there. Like they mentioned like the endless desert from Return to Oz and stuff. It's like really cool. And you see it. Anyways.
So I haven't seen it, but you enjoyed it.
Oh yes. So here's my thing. I know that I just did this whole song and dance about it. Wicked is great. Wicked, I did not even want to see it. But then my sister was like, you got to see it. You got to see it. You got to see it. So I went and saw it with her. And it is great. I loved it. I always thought the music was good. I remember hearing the soundtrack.
Yeah, I remember hearing it too.
I was like, it's really catchy. It's really good. So I always liked the music. But actually seeing it is good. It makes sense. And, again, if the Wicked Witch of the West was like the main villain throughout all of the Oz books, I may feel differently, but she's not. She's only mentioned in the first book. Dorothy, kills her with the water, and that's the end of her. In all other 13 books, she's not there.
Yeah.
The Wicked Witch of the West is only a prominent villain because of the popularity of the 1939 MGM musical. Okay. But she's really the Gnome King. The Gnome King, like again, if you've seen Return to Oz, the Gnome King really is more of like a main villain of the land of Oz. So and he has to stay a villain. But they're never going to make a Broadway musical based off of the Gnome King. But it's fun. The Wicked Witch of the West, the way that it's done, the way that it's told, it's I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it. It's really good. And by the end of the movie, if you're not convinced, then you must have no heart. I don't know.
Goodness. Wow. So you liked it and you would recommend people watch it if they haven't seen it?
Yeah, I would say go see Wicked.
Okay.
Your heart will grow 3 sizes.
3 times. What is this, the Grinch?
Sam says Return to Oz is terrifying. Yeah. Oh, we have a super chat from Peter Barker from Virginia, or is that something else?
Might be VA voice actor.
Oh, voice actor.
But either way, Peter.
Happy New Year, guys. If you have a topic for games, did you watch the Game Awards? And is there any games you guys are excited for? It's funny. We didn't include games. Well, I mean, you included some favorites.
I included some favorites for 2024. We didn't put our hopes for 2025. So
sadly, I missed the Game Awards.
Yeah, I've never watched the Game Awards. Sorry.
Just like 2023, I only really played Skyrim and Minecraft.
There we go.
I haven't really been. Well, of course, I can't remember. Was it this year or last year? Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? Was that? I think that was this year.
That might have been this year.
That was awesome. I loved Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But again, other than Skyrim, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Minecraft, I don't know how much other video games I played.
Peter, let us know in the comments if there's any games that you're excited for. I have some that I enjoyed or haven't had a chance to play that came out in this past year in 2024 that we'll get to in a bit.
Voice actor.
Perfect. There we go. But yeah, I was going to say, Peter, let us know if there were any that you were excited for. And for anybody else in the comments, let us know, because we'll probably do a follow-up about games we're excited for. And there we go. Peter is a voice actor. But thank you,
Peter,
for your generous super chat.
It looks like we've convinced a few people to see Wicked. Okay, like where was it? I saw Dante up above. Yeah, then I guess I'll see Wicked. Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. Mr. Mama Moo said, I can't wait for Pal World 2.
Wait, can they fix Pal World 1 first? We're going to talk about Pal World in a second. We're going a little slow. Yeah. Well, Wicked was really the last movie I had for last year. Chris, do you want to? And be sorry I took like 20
I was going to say, I'm surprised you went on and on. I mean,
I told you that we had plenty to talk about.
It's our. I shouldn't complain.
I told you we had tons to talk about.
I was just like, I was telling Rich, I'm like, I have so much I want to talk about. And Rich is like, if you want to talk about anime, it better only be like 2 minutes. Then it goes on for Wicked for like 20 minutes, and I don't even care about Wicked. But anyway,
Okay, well, sorry.
all right. I'm now taking back time for anime.
Okay, but don't talk too long. I still got more to say.
It's too late. It's all good. It's all good. This is why you like this best friend duo back and forth, because we have slightly different interests. So there's different things we're
you know, I'm going to let you go first with your anime before I talk about TV shows.
You know what?
I mean, technically, anime is TV shows, but it's like a different category.
I did. Did we want to look at game stuff, since several people talked about games real quick?
We're going to talk about games a little bit after anime and TV shows.
Okay, sounds good. So I would say that the form of media I've been the most engaged with, especially this past year, has been anime. So I've been watching a lot of anime, and you guys have known in the past, I've talked about ones that I've really liked. I think earlier this year, or maybe last year, I was talking about Kaiju number 8. I've got 3 recommendations: anime that came out this year, anime that came out. What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing at just like right before you said it, Garcia said it.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So Kaiju number 8, I really enjoyed that a lot. But I've got 3 for you guys that really stood out to me this year. So the first one is Solo Leveling. That is a really, really well done anime. Basically, the premise on that is it's kind of one of those games where it's like sort of you're in a video game, but not really, where like a video game gets combined with real life. And the premise is that there's all these people that have different classes, and there's different ranks of people. And they're like these dungeons you go into that are kind of like real life video games, and you can like level up and get powerful. Anyway, the cool thing about this is the character, he has like a HUD, like a game display in real life that gives him like challenges to do. And out of all those like video games become real life genre, like I guess it's not really an isekai. Anyway, Solo Leveling was really good. I watched it earlier this year. I loved it. Season 2 is coming out really soon. In fact, I think it's coming out like this weekend. It's going to premiere. I really like Solo Leveling, and if you haven't seen it yet, you should check it out.
Thanks, Kid Rhino. Kid Rhino says Garzilla. I said Garcia, like as if it was Spanish, you know, with the double L being the Y. You know?
Oh, because you couldn't, because it looked like,
Well, you know, to me, I will, you know, usually the double L's I will often pronounce it as Y automatically, because, you know, I have some Spanish roots. We live in California, and you don't want to, you know, it's better that you use the Y than not use the Y, because if it is a Y sound, and you know what?
That's nice, Rich. All right. Real quick, I just want to say I have not seen Chainsaw Man. Great question, but I did watch a YouTuber called Super Eye Patch Wolf do a really detailed, like hour-long video essay about why it's a good anime. So I'm aware of the plot, and it does seem pretty good, but I haven't watched it yet. Great question. Okay, so the next one I wanted to mention is Frieren. Frieren is an anime that came out at the end of 23, and then it kind of went 23 and then to 24. That was an amazing anime. It's called Frieren Beyond Journey's End. And if you guys need an anime to watch, it's definitely one of those anime that I think is going to be one of those like top 10 anime of all time. It is so good. And I'll give you the quick pitch. It's called Frieren Beyond Journey's End because it takes place in the fantasy world. There's a party of heroes that go and they defeat the Demon King. But what's interesting about it is it takes place when the story's ending. That's why it's called Beyond Journey's End, because they defeat, in the first episode, they defeat the Demon King and they're coming back home. And then it's like, what do you do when your adventure's over? So the thing that's really special about this is the main character is an elf who lives for like 1,000 years or longer, but all of her friends are humans or dwarves. Most of her friends are humans because in this fantasy world, there's not many elves left. So what's interesting about this is she is very reluctant to make friends with people and get close with them because they're all going to die really quick compared to her timeline. So the story is really interesting because it's kind of like, it's kind of sort of emotionally heavy in its themes of like how to deal with grief, how to deal with loss, how to deal with like making friends when you're afraid to open up and get hurt, and then kind of helping to make peace with the past. I don't want to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil it, but I have to say, it is so good. It felt different than any other anime. I think you would actually enjoy it quite a bit. It feels very much, well, Rich doesn't like any.
I haven't, okay. The late 90s, early 2000, Trigun, Cowboy Bebop, Neon Genesis. Well, I guess Neon Genesis is kind of mid 90s, but those are my animes. I'm old and I like old stuff. I haven't really enjoyed a whole lot of anime, especially the last 10 years. it's like, I don't know, the tone or something. It's just not I haven't found anything that does it for me. I like old anime because I'm old, and I like old Coke because it's old, and so am I.
Yeah. So Frieren is really good. Now, the anime that I like the most, and I could talk so long about this, so I will try and do a short version of this. I'll go as long as Rich talked about Wicked. My favorite anime of the year, which is it's several years old, but they had a new season come out. It's ReZero. ReZero, I think it's short for Restarting My Life in Another World from Zero. My goodness, I gotta tell you guys, if you have not watched ReZero or heard of ReZero, it is so freaking good. I'll give the very, very quick pitch because I don't want to spoil it. Put your phone away.
I'm just saying, it could be an emergency.
So ReZero is an isekai, and it takes place. It basically it starts off as the typical isekai where somebody gets transported to another world. But I have to say this: it's clever in that it's a clever telling on the trope. And the thing that I really liked about it is it felt very fresh. It had some really good themes about how to deal with loneliness is a huge part of that show and how to deal with loneliness properly. But the thing that made it really special is there's a phrase called postmodern and metamodern. And I learned this from a YouTuber that did a great video essay. Typically in postmodernism, you deconstruct a genre and it tends to be done cynically, ironically, and you almost feel like the author has contempt for the genre itself. Metamodern is when you deconstruct a genre, like the isekai genre, but then you build it back up. And what I mean by that, if you guys are like, what the heck is Chris going on about? The thing that makes ReZero really special is typically if you're a fan of these isekais, you're fantasizing that if you could just get transported to another world, all of your problems would go away, you get superpowers, and then you could finally have a sense of meaning in your life. What's clever about ReZero is this guy gets transported to another world, but he brings all of his flaws, all of his insecurities, and all of his problems with him. And it's as if the author of ReZero is holding up a mirror to the audience and saying, hey, if you got transported to another world, your problems wouldn't all go away. You would still have to look internally and overcome your flaws and your insecurities and your vices. So ReZero is a very, very, very well-written character development story where the main character has to slowly overcome all the problems that he had in the real world. On top of that, he has to overcome basically how to open up to friends, and he really struggles with loneliness. And I don't quite want to go into why he's struggling with loneliness, but if you watch the show, you'll understand. So anyway, long story short, ReZero really, really blew my mind. It came out, I think, several years ago. They're on season 3 right now. So season 3 aired in 2024, and they did the first half of season 3 in 24, and they're going to do the second half of season 3 in 2025. It blew my mind. I absolutely love ReZero. I think that depending on how the show ends, it may end up being my favorite anime of all time. My favorite anime initially was Full Metal Alchemist. Then it was Naruto Shippuden. And now I think I'm going to say my favorite anime of all time is ReZero. So if you guys need a show to watch, I would highly recommend it. ReZero was amazing. But like I said, my top 3 anime for the year, again, it's Solo Leveling, Frieren, and then ReZero. If you guys need any anime to watch, I'd say watch the trailer for each of those and then see which one you like. But ReZero is very special, and you just have to watch it to experience it. But I have not seen such a satisfying character arc in years, potentially ever. So that's my pitch. Hope you guys like it. And if you end up watching it, let me know the next time we do a stream because it's really, really good.
Okay, see, Chris, I let you have your 5 minutes of anime. I didn't interrupt. I didn't make no jokes.
I'm really thanks for letting me go.
There were so many times I wanted to say something rude, but I decided not to.
You know, I'm not really that big a fan of musicals, and you're not a fan of new anime, but that's okay because you, the viewer, can get both perspectives.
Let's give a big shout out to Garzilla. Now I'm pronouncing it correctly. Thank you, Garzilla. Like Godzilla, you know. Speaking of watching shows, I spent my summer rewatching the original run of Super Mario Brothers. I haven't watched the show from the beginning to end in years. The show is very special to me. Notice how Garcia doesn't say if he still enjoys it or not. It's still special to me.
I think special to me with the heart implies that it was.
Thank you, Garzilla. It's funny. I can't even remember we did a stream a couple years ago where we went through the first season, I think, but definitely not the whole show. It's it get every year, I guess as the people that worked on it, well, especially for me, it gets harder every year for me to watch it, because anytime I watch anything that I've made, I'm like, oh, I could do that better. I could say that better. I could act that better. I could direct that better. I could write that better. I could edit. Definitely the thing that kills me is Stupid Mario Brothers is very slow. I think when I was 19, when we first started, I thought like it was good, but like after years of experience, now I'm like, man, if I was to edit this today, it would be so much more blickety
I think
splickety.
the thing, and after being years of distance from Stupid Mario Bros, and I'll still read the comments when people are leaving comments about it, I think what made it special was really, it's going to sound cliche, but it was the friends we made along the way. People liked watching friends have fun doing something they were passionate about.
There's something common in old RichAlvarez videos. It's like Chris saying like, well, what do you want to do today, Mario? Let's go do it's like that's the pace. It's terrible. Should be, what do you want to do today, Mario? And it should cut to me before he's even done speaking. What do you want to do today, Mario? Let's go up that, like it should be that's the speed.
I know what you mean, that you're looking at it as a director and wishing that the timing was better. I'm thinking like what makes that show really stand out is like when you see the bloopers behind the scenes and we're having fun.
No,
and when you watch that show and then it makes you, the viewer, want to go out and do creative projects. See, I've thought a lot about what the whole point of Stupid Mario Bros was. And I have a new theory.
I still haven't figured it out.
Honestly, here's what Super Mario Bros. Was. It was a love letter to Nintendo fans, and it was also to say, hey, if you enjoyed watching Rich and I goof around and have fun with our friends, you should go and do something fun and creative with your friends. The whole point of Super Mario Bros. Was so that you guys would be inspired to do something creative. Maybe that be videos, maybe that be art. It could be anything, but it was to inspire you to go out and do something fun with your friends. That's my personal interpretation. What do you think, Rich?
I think that's a very interesting revisionist history.
Well, I'm sticking with it, but
I don't think anybody, especially during those first few seasons, I don't think anybody was like, I can't wait to inspire others. That was something cool that just happened as a
no, I agree with you. No, it was greater than the sum of its parts. And what I mean by that is, in hindsight, I wasn't thinking about that at the time we were making the show, but so many people over the years have said, hey, it was really cool seeing you guys have fun. Agree. And you inspired me
when
to do something.
Think of the show
that was
now,
the impact. Yeah.
I think about like how much kids watch it, grow up, and then become filmmakers because they watched our crappy show. That is the best takeaway from it.
Yeah.
But when we were making the show, I was like,
you just want to tell a fun story.
I was like, let's make people laugh with some fart jokes and Nintendo games,
Yeah, see, look at this. So we got like Son of Assist saying, you doing stuff with your friends reminds me of so much nostalgia for me and hanging out with my friends. That was the point. It was supposed to, like, because a lot of people said like just us being goofy and being Nintendo fans reminded you guys of being goofy and being Nintendo fans with your friends. So
okay.
Anyway,
I'm gonna like breeze through the TV shows because I let Chris do anime first. Mistakes. House of the Dragon. The Penguin. Great shows. I know a lot of people didn't like season 2 as much as season 1 for House of the Dragon.
I really liked it.
I still really enjoy it. I know that for some they didn't like Damien's House of Nightmares or whatever. I think that this is, I'm just gonna say it real quick, this is a case of weekly watching. If
you're watching it week to week.
Did you wait till the whole thing was out to binge it, or did you watch it?
I did it in pieces where I'd watch like 2 or 3 episodes and then I'd watch 2 or 3. It felt better pacing.
I watched it week by week because I had to, but it only bothered me because of the wait. If you accept modern society into your life and actually release a whole season in a day, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you don't care that Damien is stuck in a castle for the whole season because you're going through it and you see the evolution of his nightmares turn into the prophecy and everything. So all I got to say is, especially the thing that's really pissing me off right now is like Netflix with Cobra Kai, because they split the newest season into 3 parts. And
you know why they do that? It's because they don't want want you to binge watch it and unsubscribe.
I know why they do it, Chris.
Fishing.
It pisses me off, though.
I know, because it's not as good of a viewing experience.
I think we should have a law in this country that you have to release your season of television in one day.
Yeah. I will say this in terms of the best TV shows of the year, at least in what I enjoyed the most. House of Dragons was hands down my favorite TV show. And I think that what I liked about it is, the 2010s Game of Thrones was like the TV show of the decade. And of course it had a very controversial ending that just felt very unsatisfying.
Yeah.
So it left a really bitter taste in a lot of people's mouth. And I went into House of Dragon season 1 really hesitant, but House of Dragon, it does kind of capture the magic of early Game of Thrones. We'll see how it ends, but it feels good to be back in the world of Game of Thrones. It feels really good to just like be immersed in that. I mean, just hearing that theme song, in the intro. So I have to say, I've really enjoyed season 2 of House of Dragon. I'm looking forward to season 3 whenever that. Do we even know when that comes out? Next year?
Nope, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, it was a great show. I really liked it a lot.
Penguin was really good. If you like Matt Reeves, the Batman starring Robert Pattinson, this is obviously the continuation of that. I really liked it. I thought that Colin Farrell, not only did he physically transform with the help of makeup and prosthetics, but he just, I love his whole like, hey kid, he hunches and does the limp and everything. He looks and acts nothing like you would expect Colin Farrell to look.
Yeah, he really looked different.
If he doesn't win an Emmy for that, then I don't know what's wrong with the world. But yeah, The Penguin was great. I thought it was the best crime show since The Sopranos. But nothing's ever going to beat The Sopranos for me because nothing quite has that like dark humor, like weird, like, what you gonna do about it, Com? Like,
I mean, you can't beat Tony Soprano. Like he's just in a league of his own.
Yeah. When I told you I needed to, I can't do it right now. Usually I do a decent Tony Soprano voice. It's like, yeah, it's great. Hey, if you've never seen The Sopranos, there's a great show waiting for you. As long as you don't mind some really weird stuff sometimes.
Hey, you can binge it. You don't have to wait.
Last TV show I want to mention is Skeleton Crew. This promised to be
this is Star Wars.
This is Star Wars.
Yeah.
This promised to be like Emblem, 80s style, Goonies, E.T. sort of fun. And it delivers on all of that.
Okay.
Not only that, you haven't watched it yet, have you?
No, I haven't.
It delivers on that plus more. There's a great mystery going on in it. Plus Jude Law, is there, and he's awesome. I don't want to say anything about him because it would just spoil.
Yeah.
But it's like if you're a fan of things like E.T., the Goonies, or even It, where the kids have to defeat Pennywise the Clown. If you're a fan of kids in trouble that have to go through great lengths to, it's that. It is that.
Okay.
It is. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, you'll be a fan of Skeleton Crew.
All right.
It is the best Star Wars show after Andor, because honestly, most Star Wars shows haven't been great.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons of Mandalorian, great. Andor season 1, great. Now Skeleton Crew. It's at least it's 2 or 3. Okay. But Andor is still the best. And we're gonna get Andor season 2 here pretty soon. I mean, heck, that's Campia has been saying that like Andor the show is just the best thing in Star Wars period since Return of the Jedi. And I want to agree so bad, but I have this weird nostalgic bias for the prequels, even though that like they're whatever.
We just got a super chat. I'm assuming this is a sticker because we're in StreamYard, so we can't see it. But thank you so much, Kid Rhino. Appreciate that, and good to see you in the stream again.
All right, that's all for TV shows. I want to breeze through video games also really quick because I do want to get to 2025 hopes and dreams. Video games. I guess there were 2 new video games. Because thank you, Chris, for reminding me earlier. Plus, we had that comment. There were 2 new video games that I played this year, and that was it. You have to understand. I'm like, you
just play the hits.
My life can get very busy. That's why you don't even see us streaming most of the time these days. So yeah, as far as new games go, I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Wow. All I got to say is wow.
I remember you were really into that.
Super good. In fact, I'm going to replay it today. Now that you reminded me about it, maybe I can hear Sam over there going, well, there's this and that we're supposed to do. Then there's Pal World. Pal World was an anomaly.
It just out of the blue. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
It's like this, you basically create a Pokemon Plantation.
Well, it was Pokemon meets Minecraft is kind of what it felt like, right?
Yeah,
meets
well,
Fortnite.
it's different because the mechanics around it are you get the pals to do all your chores for you, you know, and it kind of made you feel guilty after a while. At least for me, I played it nonstop. There were like actual nights where I stayed up all night, which I hadn't done since like Fallout 3. I like stayed up all night for several nights playing Pal World, and I think I played it for like 2 or 3 weeks total,
just nonstop. I was the same. I just was obsessed with that game for a couple weeks,
and this was like right when it came out,
literally beginning of the year.
But like after 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, well, I'm good.
Yep, I felt the same way.
I finished everything there was to do. I have not touched it since. I know this update and this update, but it's like I don't care. I got the initial experience. I've got I got work to do.
It was really fun though. I have to say it's like they combined all these different genres together, and it was super fun. And then everybody kind of forgot about it. It was just like a one-hit wonder, flash in the pan, and then that was it. But it did stand out. It was really fun. I didn't play this game, but Helldivers came out earlier this year, or maybe it was Helldivers 2. There was like a whole thing about. I didn't play it, but I know that was huge and it was impactful in the gaming world, and a lot of people enjoyed it. I will say, in terms of Nintendo stuff that came out, I know that. Do you need me to go down?
Just scrolling down a little bit.
Mario Party came out, the new Mario Party game, Mario Party Jamboree, and I will say I did play that one, and it was really fun. My only complaint is that the previous Mario Party, the Mario Party All Stars or Superstars or whatever, they made it in the advertising seem like they were going to make a Mario Party game that had all of the levels from 1, 2, and 3, and they didn't do that. I would have happily paid DLC to get every like Nintendo 64 Mario Party level redone in a Switch game. But now they're kind of spacing it out. So Mario Party Jamboree has Western World in it, which is awesome. And then there's some other levels, but really enjoyed that. There's like an online aspect too that's pretty fun. I haven't done the online aspect yet, but I remember being excited about it. And then the other game that came out semi-recently was Mario and Luigi Brothership. I was almost going to say Brotherhood, but it's Brothership. I have not played that yet, but I know it's the continuation of the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga RPG. It looks like the reviews have been a little bit mixed, but I've always liked those Mario RPG games or the RPG spinoffs. But yeah, so that's just my thoughts on games that came out this year. Rich.
It looks like the last thing that we wanted to mention for 2024 was that, I mean, you just put, I don't know what you wanted to talk about.
I just wanted to say, in terms of just my personal highlights, when I look back about like what really stood out to me, Fanime was really, really fun. And the reason that it was fun is because it was the first time that Rich and I finally actually got back in the Mario and Luigi costume. And like there were a lot of people there that said hi to us that had been watching us for years. We made we made a new fan just because we were the only people live streaming it. Like that was a cool moment. But to me, it was special. And I really enjoyed Fanime. Like I love just the vibe. People there are super friendly. Anytime you go to an anime convention, you just feel like you're like, yes, I'm with my people. Like that's how I felt. So it was it was fun. Rich did a great job on a highlights video, but it was pretty special. So yeah. Shall we move to hopes for 2025?
And now the moment you've all been waiting for, maybe 2025 hopes and dreams, including what movies, games, TV, anime, anything else we're excited for, conventions, and other stuff. All right, let's go first to
movies and TV.
Movies. Now, I spent so much time talking about everything from this year. I really got to break down things faster. So, I would say probably the most important thing happening this year in the world of movies is probably Superman.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up the trailer for Superman 2025 by James Gunn, starring David Corenswet, and watch the trailer. It was the 5th most popular trailer ever, apparently, with only a few Marvel movies ahead of it.
That's amazing.
It is important because it is rebooting again the DC movies. So all the Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, and all that stuff, forget about all that because that's over with. We are starting over again, and now it's by James Gunn, who is the new CEO of DC Studios.
That's wild.
So he's basically doing the Kevin Feige thing now over there. Now I like James Gunn a lot because I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's the thing. I think that James Gunn is a fantastic writer and director, but is he Kevin Feige? Can he lead a
cinematic universe?
Yeah, can he lead a cinematic universe? Maybe, but we've yet to see it. That's why Superman is really important. If this movie doesn't do well, or if it's kind of meh, then that's going to really look bad for what they're supposed to, go do forward. They have a lot of plans. They've got Brave and the Bold, on the horizon, but the only movies that are set in stone right now is Superman and then Supergirl in 2026. So those movies really have to do well for the rest.
So they got to get those two right, and then they can build out, everything else.
And I think I do think that's an interesting way to go. I know that most people would do that's what they tried to do before. Most people go Superman then Batman. Because they're like, but like that's where I think that James Gunn's actually doing it smartly, because narratively it makes sense to do the Supergirl movie right after Superman, so that way you're not spending way too much time before you introduce the idea that like, oh, there is another survivor of Krypton,
Gotcha.
And it's your cousin somehow. And she's Supergirl, like, that she'll probably be introduced in the Superman movie first, like end credits or something, and then
that of course, end credits.
But anyways, that's all I'm going to say. There's so much more I could say about this, but for the sake of time and my sanity, we're going to say, that should just be its own video. Honestly, DCU predictions, James Gunn, everything, that should be its own video. We'll do that some other time. For now, let's get to any other movies we're excited for. Obviously, Marvel movies, Captain America, Brave New World, Thunderbolts looks funny. I still don't think there's no Fantastic Four trailer yet, but I am looking forward to Fantastic Four. Those are the 3 Marvel movies coming out next year. Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, I am a huge lifelong Jurassic Park fan, so this will be the beginning of a 3rd Jurassic trilogy. I'm curious as to why they're still going with the Jurassic World. I thought it would be like Jurassic Park trilogy, Jurassic World trilogy, and then I don't know, Jurassic Universe. I don't know what you go with after that. They decided to keep calling it Jurassic World, but this has nothing to do with like the Chris Pratt, or anything. This is, Scarlett Johansson and some other people that for some reason I can't remember. It's the guy who's supposed to be Blade, Mahershala Ali.
Oh yeah,
is in there as like a mercenary, and basically it's acknowledging a little bit of the story that happened before. So if you saw the last Chris Pratt movie, dinosaurs are now living all over the world. So they had to fix that terribleness by being like, okay, they're all dying out, but they still are alive on this island.
Of course. So,
it goes back to like the old, classic, we have to get on a dinosaur island and survive, because they're like trying to, like, there's one dinosaur that like has the cure for cancer or something in their DNA that they're trying to extract. That's all we know about the plot right now. But I love dinosaurs. I love Jurassic stuff. I cannot wait. Minecraft. Yep. We promised we'd talk about Minecraft. All we have is 2 trailers. I did think the second trailer was a lot better than the first trailer, but it's still not great. It made me a little bit more hopeful. I think I have to accept the fact that they decided to make it for kids. In fact, the director was like, well, you might be upset, but I don't want to ruin it for all the 12-year-olds, which is a terrible thing to say. And what a terrible mentality to have, because those 12-year-olds are going to be 20-year-olds in 8 years. Do you want your movie to only like,
well, guys, like look at the Mario movie. It's like you can make a movie that kids can enjoy, but also people who grew up and are now adults also enjoy. You can do both if you're, if you know how to please both audiences.
You can make a family movie that is good for the whole family.
Yeah.
Frank Capra, 1946. It's a Wonderful Life. Great movie for the whole family. I just don't, whatever. So I feel like they're making excuses already. Enough of that. Anyways.
Just want to say hello to Lady Rosebug, who is also a member. Thanks for jumping in. Good to see you.
Thank you, Lady Rosebug. As far as TV shows next year go, do you have any other movies you're looking forward to next year? People have been mentioning Mortal Kombat 2. I am looking forward to that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty that I'm forgetting about, but I guess we'll have to wait. There's more anime I'm excited about, but I'll mention that in a bit.
I mean, you're going to get your chance in just a second.
Yeah.
TV shows next year. I'm really looking forward to Andor season 2. That's going to be huge. I know that there's other shows for some reason I'm blanking on right now, but Andor season 2 is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. Oh, Daredevil Born Again, the upcoming Daredevil show. I love Daredevil. He is one of my top 3 Marvel superheroes, and I love that they did decide to make it a continuation of the Netflix show, and they've already spoiled that Charlie Cox will be Daredevil in Avengers Doomsday.
Nice.
So, Daredevil is on his way up. Anyways, Chris, briefly in next year's anime.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. This year's anime, because it's 2025.
This year's anime.
So like I mentioned, season 2 of Solo Leveling comes out, I think, in like a few days. Also, season 3 part 2 of ReZero comes out, and I think the Demon Slayer, the next season comes out. I didn't check the release date, but there's some really, really good anime that's being continued this year. I'm very, very excited for all of those, but it should be a great year for anime. So just keep an eye out on what's going on Crunchyroll or whichever other website you stream on.
Peter Barker, is the Twisted Metal season 2, is that supposed to be coming out this year? Because I never got a release date for it.
Did you like the first season?
I remember
we watched the first few episodes.
That was like
together.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been taking a minute.
Oh, you might be right about that. It could be a movie in terms of Demon Slayer. I know it's the Infinity Castle. So, but a lot of times they'll do movies.
Infinity Castle parts 1, 2, 3, and
a
4.
lot of times they'll do movies and then they'll actually release, like, they'll break it into a season. But yeah. So.
Ooh. Good question, Pisses Raver. If I hope I'm saying that right.
Pisces Raver?
Maybe it's Pisces.
I thought the same thing. Let's go with Pisces.
Pisces
just because
Raver
it sounds
better. When are you playing more games on stream? That's a great question. That's something I used to do a lot of and not so much now these days.
Let me put it this way.
It didn't seem like people were watching them, but hey, if enough people watched them, I would do them.
If you guys have any games you want us to watch, I mean, it's funny because I own, it's right over here, a copy of Brothership, Mario and Luigi Brothership,
right on top of your cobweb-ridden Xbox.
I've got a whole bunch of games. Anyway, I guess if Rich and I are going to do a stream, we're probably just going to do these chill live streams where we chat. But if there's a game you really, really want us to play, let us know. Because I did enjoy last year. We were playing a little bit of Mario RPG. That was actually pretty fun. I enjoyed that.
I was like, it's a weird feeling I get. I mean, yeah, I like it if we're playing together and for like an hour, that's fine. But it's like, I remember like playing the Final Fantasy games. It's like, I can't fully enjoy my Final Fantasy games if I have to be entertaining on stream.
That's how I feel. Because there was a period of time where I was doing a ton of Fall Guys streaming, and that was fun during the pandemic when everything was locked down. You couldn't do anything. But I'm also at the point where if I'm going to play a video game, I want to do it with you. So one of us can play the game and one of us can read the chat.
I want to play my games and eat my gummy worms and eat my pizza and scratch my butt. And I can't really do all that on stream.
Thank you, Lady Rosebud, for being a member for 20 months. Lady Rosebud says, what do you boys look forward to the most of this year of 2025 regards to games, movies, or your content / creating streams?
That's funny. That is what we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes.
It's a good catch-all. So I would say I'm not honestly sure in terms of games. I haven't paid that much attention. For movies, I'll just say the animes that I mentioned, Solo Leveling and ReZero and Demon Slayer. In terms of creating content and streams, I am looking forward to some of the anime conventions that we'll be going to, which we'll be talking about, but the usual ones. And maybe more live streams with Rich if both of us, our schedules clear up. But
and again, Superman, the Marvel movies, Star Trek Strange New World Season 3. I forgot to mention that one before, but thank you, Lady Rosebud. Keeping us honest.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, were you done talking about anime?
Oh yeah, that's
you done
never,
about anime?
But for now, yes.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Was there anything else? I have not been keeping up with music at all, so I don't know. But
yeah,
that doesn't matter. Games? Any games? Games?
Should we open it up to the chat? See if there's anything they're excited about.
I mean, the chat will know what video games are.
Well, I mean, for anything.
Yeah.
All right. So free for all for the chat. So now that Rich and I have pretty much covered what we're looking forward to, what are you looking forward to? Whether it be movies, TV shows, anime, video games, pretty much anything in pop culture. Now's your chance. Rosalina several times has been asking about the Amazing Digital Circus. Have you heard of that show on Netflix? I have not heard of it. So sorry, don't have anything to comment on. We got Jurassic Park Survival. Mr. Mamu Moo is excited about that. Darren had a nice message and said, Happy New Year, Rich and Chris. Hope your day is going awesome today. Thank you very much. Peter said, excited for the Okami sequel. I don't even know what that is. Oh, do we get blurred out? The autofocus. Okay, there we go. We're back. Autofocus on my camera.
They're trying to censor us.
But yeah, there's probably a lot of games coming out. Like I mentioned. Oh, we didn't really talk about this that much. In terms of video games, I think Rich and I are in the same boat that we'll maybe play one new game like Pal World, and then we'll just go back to the ones that we enjoy. So for me, what I'll always go back to is Stardew Valley and classic World of Warcraft, and then sometimes Fall Guys I'll play on my own. What was the game that you played the most? I know the answer to this, but what did you play the most last year in 24?
Definitely Minecraft. I mean, Minecraft every year with and I play a lot of Skyrim still. I always go back to Skyrim, but again, Pal World and then also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. If it wasn't one of those 4 games, I didn't play it.
But in terms of your go-to when you just want to chill, Minecraft, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, because I just pick it up, create a new world, and
yeah, that's literally how I feel with World of Warcraft.
I start a new file on Minecraft like every other day.
I mean, again, it's literally me in World of Warcraft. I'll just start a new alt character. I like the early zone, so I'll just level a character up through like level 20, maybe level 30. Then I'll take a break, roll a new character. Anyway, so point is, I have not really paid that much attention to the games coming out this year. So if there's any big ones we should be aware of, let us know. And I mean, hey, you never know if we're going to have like something like Pal World, like an indie game just come out that everybody like jumps on that nobody really knew about. Okay, let's see what else we got here. So I just want to get okay. So Rosalina said the day the Earth blew up, Looney Tunes and Dogman by DreamWorks. Very nice. Kid Rhino said, have either of you tried Space Marine 2? No, I haven't. I don't even know. Is that a video game? I'm assuming it's a video game. Unfortunately, no. William said the DK Country Returns HD port. Did that come out recently? I know you're a fan of Donkey Kong Country.
I mean, I love Donkey Kong Country Returns also, but I don't know. I
just have the loop.
Yeah.
All good. Well, I know Donkey Kong Country. Rich used to be a huge fan of that. Okay, Dante said Virtual Fighter 6. Very nice. Garzilla said Kaiju. Yep, next season of Kaiju number 8. I'm glad you enjoyed that one. I really enjoyed that one. New superhero movies, working on screenplays. Very nice. Lady Rosebug said sleepy but dropping in. Thank you, Lady Rosebug. Brandon said Happy New Year. Son of Assist said Neil Nation from Skeleton Crew. Any recommendations on RPG for the Switch? I'm trying to play more of those. RPGs for the Switch.
Mario RPG,
Brothership.
Zelda games. Well, they're not really RPGs.
Octopath Traveler, did that come out on the Switch?
That is on the Switch. Octopath Travelers 1 and 2.
Probably one of the best, even though I haven't played it. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here we go. Sam said that's our Minecraft purgatory because you just keep, starting.
Yeah, well, especially because like when we play on.
Sorry, go ahead.
GTA 6.
Yeah, I totally forgot about GTA 6.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully, if it's as good as GTA 5, it'll be the best game of the year.
Well, GTA 5 was like the game that was popular throughout the entirety of the 2010s. So we'll see if GTA 6 can hold that. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So point is, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of stuff coming out that we forgot about, or things that come out that nobody was expecting, like those hit indie games. But I think 2025 is going to be a good year.
Yeah. Did you scroll down all the way?
Or
we just got too many comments.
We're at the bottom now. I just scrolled down. Did I miss anything?
I guess that's it. Yeah, I am looking forward to GTA 6. I just hope it's as good. I don't know if anything can ever beat the dynamic between Michael and Trevor.
I know GTA 5. I never played a GTA game until 5.
I replayed it again. I want to say early, not last year, 2023. Now.
Did it still hold up?
And it still holds up. I have the PS5 version.
So it was the up res.
But it's great. Trevor, his cousin. What do you want? It's so angry,
Yeah.
Michael. It's what a great game. I just I don't know if they're going to be able to like do anything that can come close to those character dynamics. You know, that's my whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about the online stuff. I just like the story. Anyways, I guess that's pretty much going to do it for us.
I mean, we've been going.
We will be at SAC Anime Saturday only, I think.
Saturday,
right?
yeah.
We'll be there. Don't take our word for it because we're often late. But we're going to try to be there in the afternoon from like either noon to 2 or 1 to 3 or 2 to 4.
Right. Yeah.
Something like that. So if if you're at SAC Anime in Sacramento this weekend and you're there on Saturday, look for a couple of idiots in their Mario costumes walking around the building with their microphones going, what's your favorite part about SAC Anime? That's us. That'll be us.
And if you don't want to leave your house or you're not local, you can just watch the stream. We hope to see you on the stream.
And if you don't care, you don't have to do either of those things. So.
But yeah, so we'll be at SAC Anime this weekend. We'll most likely be at Fanime later in May. But yeah, I was going to say, ultimately, though, I really appreciate all you guys tuning up. I wasn't quite sure what kind of a showing we were going to get today, but we had quite a few people throughout the stream. I noticed it was between like 30 to 40 viewers. So thank you for tuning into us all these years later. And we may, we'll be streaming again for SAC Anime on Saturday. In terms of how often we do these live streams, you'll just have to wait and see. We'll try and do more, but you never know with us. So any final thoughts?
No.
All right. Well, thank you again to everybody who tuned in. We hope you all have a wonderful 2025 and an
even better 2026.
Hey, that was pretty good. Do you want to do a please subscribe voice?
Oh, wait, we have something from Elite Gear here.
One last super chat. Thank you, Elite Gear. Elite Gear super chatted $9.99 and said, "My movie of the year is Sonic 3, and game of the year is both Sonic X Shadow Generations and Brothership. 2024 was definitely a year I will never forget. Hope you two have a great 2025 as well." Thank you so much, Elite Gear.
Thank you, Elite Gear. Big Sonic fan.
Yeah, that's great. You picked some great games and some great movies, and we hope you have an excellent.
Hey, you have a good year
as well. Cool. So I think we're pretty much done. So subscribe, voice.
Please subscribe. It's free and easy. I was going to say, just like seeing us at SAC Anime, which is neither free, and if you don't live in Sacramento, that's not very easy.
But it is free and easy if you watch our live stream.
But it's, well, besides gas, it's pretty much free and easy for us because we just go over there and not pay for a ticket and just walk around outside.
Oh, we're going to pay for a ticket. Because it's winter and it'll be cold.
We just want you to go inside. Actually, Sam wants to go inside too.
So
yeah. I guess we're going inside. Otherwise, I'm cheap and I wouldn't pay for a ticket.
I mean, if it was summer, then I'd totally be down to walk around outside. Well, then sometimes it's too hot. Fanime's the only one that actually has nice weather consistently because it's in May.
Hey, so anyway. Let us know in the chat right now. Should I add a strap to my keyboard so that I can be playing piano on the go while we're walking around? Like a guitar style?
You know. Goodness gracious. There are people that walk around with instruments.
Well, we see people with their dumb, like, little... like I forget
the air accordion,
and like saxophones and stuff. Yeah. But like that keyboard is pretty heavy. It would be hard to carry around.
You'd want to get something small and mobile. So anyway, well, I think that's going to do it for us. So thank you again, everybody who tuned in today. So with that said, I hope and we hope you have a wonderful day
and an even more pleasant tomorrow.
And with that said, have a great 2025. We'll see you in the next stream.
All right, bye.
See ya.